This video is going to be a film study look at Jared Goff's performance in the Lions' 42-29 win over the Seahawks on Monday Night Football. Truly remarkable effort, if you ask me, not just because of the statistical output, 18 for 18, nonetheless didn't get a perfect quarterback rating under the old school quarterback rating, the one that me personally I value the most. But I think that one thing to recognize about his performance is there was pressure at times. It's not like Goff is standing back there in a totally clean pocket on his last step, his gather step, throwing the football in time to his receivers or his tight ends. There's many times where he's got to move or shift in the pocket, step up a couple of times to avoid pressure. I thought the Seahawks defense played with a lot of force, downhill trying to get to Goff, trying to get pressure on him. He made them pay in a couple of times where they brought safety blitzes. I thought it was a truly fantastic performance from Jared Goff in the last 2 weeks against Arizona and the Seahawks, two NFC opponents. He's 37 of 42 passing. The Lions have 9 touchdowns in the last 2 weeks. I think 3 against Arizona on the road, and then 6 last night in the win against the Seahawks. I'm going to get to the film early here. Got about 16 plays queued up for you guys to check out. I'll talk about Goff specifically on these plays and try not to digress too much and talk about other people. This is first play of the game. It's a great job by Devin Witherspoon down here. But an example of what the Lions are trying to do, I think, at times with the Seahawks, which is get them moving laterally in one direction. Again, it's first play of the game, Lions' first possession. So making it look like a counter play with the pulling guard, pulling fullback, Montgomery little counter step going to that side as well. And then Laporta with a block for a moment, a delay out into the flats. Tells you a whole lot about Witherspoon and that he's able to come up and make the tackle. Yes, is there possibly an opportunity to get the ball over the top of Witherspoon here? I do wonder about that, to be honest with you. You've got a clear out route by Jameson Williams that should hold this safety. St. Brown and then Laporta on the delay block out into the flats. So a flood concept. I do wonder about being able to throw the ball over the top of Witherspoon, get it to Jameson Williams further towards the sideline. Certainly looks like there's an opportunity there to me. Goff took the underneath. The safe route only got a gain of 1. End of the first possession here is going to be a sack by, I think it's Reed. Kind of illustrative of the pressure that was there at times that Goff had to deal with. And nonetheless, after this, completed his next, I think, 17 passes. Really nowhere to go with the football in this particular case. You do have this dynamic of Laporta often running these deeper in routes, whereby if Goff is able to throw the ball just before contact or just before dealing with anything else, then he's possibly got the opportunity to get it here. You got Woolen in trail against the wide receiver. Laporta, to me, looks like the play here to try to get him the ball in the middle of the field. Doesn't appear to be where Goff is looking, and then when he comes back to it, he's got other colored jersey flashing in front of his face, so has to take a sack for a huge loss, I think a loss of 14. Moving forward, second possession, Lions start to get things going. This is a fantastic effort by Goff. A lot of motion. The Lions use this motion often, whether it's 2 tight ends or a tight end and a fullback. Goff spins the wrong way and gets this to Jameson Williams for a 10-yard gain against Reek Woolen, by the way. So this dual motion or shift, both tight ends. So Tyus Bowser is going to be free off the edge up here, get a piece of Goff. This fullback is going to peel back ever so slightly, get enough of Bowser to kind of get him off of that track, fullback / tight end. Watch Goff. Goff would be setting up to get his momentum going forward. He's not only been moved off his spot, but he spins around because he was grabbed by the foot, reorients himself to the target. So the ball is a little bit late to Jameson Williams, obviously, because of the pressure. Williams, nice catch. It's a body catch. One of those times where it's appropriate to do so. 10-yard gain on a 2nd and 6. End zone angle, same play, so you can gain some appreciation of it. Bowser is the outside linebacker off our left side of the screen. You can see that he grabs on Goff's knee or ankle, somewhere around in there, maybe his thigh, spins him around. Goff, that's a high degree of difficulty, if you ask me, just to be able to get that play off in an accurate fashion, and they complete it for 10 yards. Still second possession. This is another 2nd and 6. This is going to be a dig to St. Brown. This is a route that the Lions love. They have loved in previous years. Josh Reynolds, I think, specialized in some of this. He was able to hit St. Brown on this last night. Also, Tim Patrick later on in the game. So you got this kind of stacked twins at the bottom side of the screen. Vertical's going to flow through Jameson Williams, and then St. Brown's going to bring this route underneath, not necessarily at that depth that I just showed, but I only have so much screen to draw on. Little play action, totally clean pocket. Goff on his back step, got his gather into it. Boom, strike. Tries to get it away from a second-level defender, so that's why I think it's a little bit behind St. Brown for a moment. And St. Brown and I think Witherspoon are jawing after the play. Third possession, we're moving forward here. I think it's interesting to note the multitude of concepts that Goff executed, number one. Number two, how often he actually was dealing with either pressure or disruption in his flow. And then also, how many times Goff is looking in one direction and then comes back to the other side of the field. This pass is going to be completed to Brock Wright, right down there near the top of the numbers, wide open into the boundary. Really cool concept, the way that the Lions are accomplishing this. The outside linebacker to the field here is going to be connected to Brock Wright for a moment. As Wright flows through here, the OLB, and I will give the end zone angle of this one, I think. The OLB releases him, number one. Number two, you have the X-receiver, Jameson Williams, down here, bringing his route to the inside, basically clearing out that space for Goff and Brock Wright. If the throw is there a little sooner or if Brock Wright's route is maybe 2 or 3 yards deeper, closer to the 5, you certainly got an opportunity to get a touchdown here. Goes down for a 10-yard gain. Like I said, it's a 2nd and 9. Third possession. End zone angle, same play. You'll see the OLB here. I think it's Bowser. Carry the tight end across and then release him once he gets to the hash. He's even pointing for the inside linebacker to take him. Nonetheless, Baker does not do so. 10-yard gain, Brock Wright. I feel like Brock Wright's had a significant impact so far this year. I'm not focusing on every touchdown. We're just focusing on Goff here and what he's doing, what the coverage is, if I can try to glean some of that for you. 11 personnel on the fourth possession. Lions are up 14-7 at this point. Underneath to St. Brown. Again, you've got contact on Goff. He's got to get rid of this ball. There's really not much more time at all here. They've been using this motion by Jameson Williams and then perhaps running a wheel, sometimes a wheel sit. He's also, at least one time this year, run the motion and then brought the route back in. They don't elect to do that this time. It's St. Brown, the stagger release. Jameson Williams hedging outside for a moment and then running up in the seam. St. Brown sitting underneath. You can see Goff is already pulling the pin on a grenade. There's a mess here on this one between 3 players, 2 Lions blockers, and then 1 defensive tackle. St. Brown underneath for an 8-yard gain on a 1st and 10. Again, we're into the second quarter here. Maybe about 11 minutes left in the second quarter. This is 4th possession. I love this play because of the pressure that Goff is dealing with. This absolutely goes against the, quote, accepted narrative for Goff. I think there's also a face mask on the Seahawks here in this play, but not necessarily focusing on that. But we'll try to pause this at opportune times. Goff is looking down here to the bottom side. Now, it's possible he's looking here just to hold defenders at times and then come back to the other side of the field. I'm not necessarily sure if that's the case, but he does move off of this quickly. Come back. He's now on to the top side of the field, his left. The Seahawks defense is right. And then there's pressure that flashes. It's Devin Witherspoon, who's just a terror. He just never gives up on the play. Goff is able to navigate that and come back to Laporta. It's a 2nd and 2, second quarter. This may be one of the most interesting plays for me to see Goff execute because of, I guess you could say his feet are getting a little antsy in the pocket there. Sure, whatever you want to say. He's going through multiple reads and he's trying to find someone that's available before the rush can get to him. It's a nickel blitz by Witherspoon. He gets it off here to Laporta. It ends up being, I believe, a 30-yard gain because of the gain here and then the face mask that was tacked on for 15 yards. Still 4th possession. And this is going to be a really nice play to Sam Laporta down into the boundary. This is a 3rd and 3. And the Lions are up 14-7 at this point. So they're motioning St. Brown into, like, what basically looks like smash to some degree. Laporta is stepping to the edge defender. St. Brown is inserting into the C gap and then running up the hash, bringing his route towards the pylon. Additional to that, you've got a mesh between Goff and Montgomery. Again, it's a 3rd and 3. The Lions certainly run the ball enough on 3rd downs. So you can see they've got the linebackers and the safety, Rayshon Jenkins, flowing forward some. St. Brown runs right past him. He's going to be picked up by the safety. Laporta out in the flats, wide open, ends up being a 13-yard gain. I said in my reaction video that I didn't think Laporta looked as explosively quick. I stand by that statement. Nonetheless, he did have an impact last night. It's good to see. If they get Sam Laporta going with St. Brown and the run game, this Lions offense with the big playability of Jameson Williams, the sky is the limit in terms of their ceiling. Still 4th possession. Really slick play design here by the Lions. I understand what's going on. The announcers said that Tim Patrick is open up at the top side. Perhaps he is. Motion by St. Brown. He's going to stem down. And I think he's supposed to crack the edge defender, but because of the timing of the snap, he gets too far, so he can't really crack that edge defender at all. So when Goff gets out here, you do have Tim Patrick, behind the defense here. If you throw this ball towards the back pylon, you got an opportunity for a score. Witherspoon's trying to recover. But the intention of this play, or at least one of the options, I should say, is St. Brown, who went in motion for the potential pin down underneath. Ends up being a 5-yard gain on a 1st and goal from the 6-yard line. I think it's a pretty slick play. It's not the Lions and Ben Johnson aren't the only teams that use this. Haven't seen them use this a ton, whereby he brings this back to the direction where the ball was snapped from, the right hash. St. Brown, quick catch underneath. Like I said, almost got into the end zone. They actually did punch it in the end zone, take a 21-7 lead at the half. This is early in the 3rd quarter. I've actually seen people on social media criticizing Goff for the fact that Montgomery is the one who made the play here. So I guess the insinuation is these 40 yards get applied to Jared Goff when he did nothing. Those are just the most ass-backwards evaluations that I've ever heard of when it comes to a team sport, in my opinion. So, slight little play fake to Montgomery, who's going to run out into the flats, catch the ball around here, where he ends up, trucking or breaking the tackle of Devin Witherspoon. 3 receivers running vertical routes. There are times where the design of it is actually to get the ball here. Now, you do have a receiver working from the trip side, potentially across the field. Reek Woolen, no work for him, so he's getting depth to try to match any dig routes or posts from the other side of the field. I'm not saying that this one is designed to go to Montgomery. In fact, I don't think it is. But those type of takes and evaluations or analysis are really just lacking any understanding of the way that these offenses are designed at times. Meaning, you want to get the ball to your running backs as much as possible. Sometimes you don't want to get it to them on the same timing. Hand the ball, snap, hand the ball off, snap, hand the ball off on a particular timing. You want to alter or change that timing. In this case, they get it to him on a different time frame. Seahawks are recovering fast. Witherspoon, and then the inside linebackers are there. So much contact, so much violent, collisions going on this play. 40-yard gain. I think Goff deserves credit for getting through the reads quick. What are we doing that we evaluate quarterbacks so differently? I'm not huge into quarterback-only videos. I want to do 2 of them this week, one about Goff and one about Geno Smith, because the output was so differential. Goff, very economical, 18 of 18. Second week in a row where the pass attempts has been low, but the completion percentage has been ridiculous. Geno Smith, I think 56 attempts on 61 or 62 dropbacks, something crazy like that. And almost 400 yards passing. Totally different style of offense between the 2 teams. Nonetheless, both effective. Why can't they both be effective? Why don't they both deserve praise for the things they did well? This is still that same possession. Patrick is going to run the under from the top side of the field. Goff is going to work to him late. He glanced over here initially. Now he's come back over here to Laporta. Perhaps doesn't like what he sees, what the options may be. Shifts out to the right because some pressure. The pocket started to move a little bit. I shouldn't say pressure. Pocket started to move a little bit. Pushed him, flowed to the right hash. underneath to Tim Patrick on a 2nd and 10, seemingly innocuous, only a 3-yard catch. But the momentum that Patrick had going from right to left allowed him to turn this into a 23-yard gain. Again, I think Goff deserves credit for getting through the reads quickly. I just finished watching the Ravens and Bills compete, and Josh Allen, even though he only threw for 180 yards, he had multiple times where he's trying to get to his third read. There's occasionally pressure. There's some times where he did get to the third read. Why do we have to change our evaluation, which I think is what a lot of people do, just depending on the last name of the quarterback that we're talking about? End zone angle, same play, just so you can see the way that Goff flows through the reads. If I've gone through the plays too much, meaning let them repeat too many times, forgive me. But I think that the end zone angle, particularly for quarterbacks, is instructive. Looked in the middle of the field first, glanced back to Laporta, accurate throw underneath the defense. I think that's an excellent job of playing quarterback in the NFL in a day and age, and particularly against the Seahawks defense ran by Mike McDonald, whereby the looks are so multiple and versatile that you don't know exactly what you're going to get post-snap. Excuse me. The pass from St. Brown to Goff, I really broke this one down in a video that came out earlier today, so you guys check that video out if you want. It was really about the third quarter and how crazy it was. 27 points scored in the third quarter. Really could have been 34 or 35 because the Seahawks scored 2 plays into the fourth quarter. The NFL record, if you don't know, for points scored in a quarter is 41. I think from like 40 years ago, something like that. Don't ask me how that happened. But this quarter was just absolutely insane. 5 touchdowns scored by the 5 drives that resulted in touchdowns. Only 27 points, so it couldn't be 5 touchdowns. The 5th touchdown scored on the 2nd play of the fourth quarter by the Seahawks offense. Beautiful design, if you ask me. Really builds off of that reverse flavor that the Lions have added to the offense early in 2024. Again, I mentioned that, kind of break that down in the video that came out earlier today about how classic that third quarter was, how much fun it was to watch. I actually was planning on going back and watching it again before, and to talk about it a little bit more this weekend with another Lions-related video that I do. So we moved on now to the 6th possession. The Seahawks offense is rolling in this third quarter. They're scoring, and the Lions get the ball back. And I don't know about you, there was a moment here where I was like, oh my goodness, the Lions defense has to go right back on the field. They just went through a grueling drive, I believe, to hold for a 28-20 lead, or retain, a 28-20 lead after Seattle elected to go for it twice. Didn't get either of them, apparently. Call this an anticipation throw if you want. I think Goff just, he knows the route. He understands the coverage and sees it, so he throws it out in front of Jameson Williams. Forgive me, I thought I had the end zone angle on that one. Jameson Williams from the right side. Little over concept. Laporta. Somewhere in this area, I think by the left hash, close to the middle of the field, Laporta's got to kind of gear down to get the heck out of the way of Jameson Williams. You can see it happening right here. Thankfully, because Goff has already thrown the football. I believe that is the football right there. I could be wrong. In stride, Jameson Williams. It was over. I don't know about you. As soon as he caught it and I saw space, I was like, this is it. Unless there's a safety back there at 35 yards deep for whatever reason. 70-yard touchdown strike. Beautiful football that Jared Goff played on Monday night. I think that to talk about Jared Goff under pressure and having difficulty early in 2024, those things have some legitimacy. On this night, they did not. On this night, against pressure, Jared Goff was able to deftly move in the pocket and avoid it, get the ball out. I think he was also able to identify particular blitzes that the Seahawks might be bringing. In this case, they're up 35-7. This is a clutch football throw. It's a great throw to Tim Patrick on a dig, Josh Reynolds style route, if you wish. It's 9 minutes left in the game, fourth quarter. First play of the drive, because I think the ball hit in the landing zone and then went into the end zone, I believe, if I remember correctly. This is a clutch throw. They're bringing a nickel blitz, Witherspoon off the edge. The running back's got to deal with that. Then Goff gets back here. He's got 2 second-level defenders to deal with. Basically, this safety has dropped down to replace Witherspoon as the blitzer in the pass drop. And Goff throws this thing in between those two defenders. 29-yard gain for Tim Patrick. I hope that Tim Patrick can stay healthy and continue to have an impact. He looked good to me on Monday night. Still this 9th possession. Really nice play here. This one went for 30 yards. Goff sees the pressure. It's a screen, so he knows there's probably going to be pressure. He's prepared for it. There's also a moment here where I'm worried about the ball being out there and Rayshawn Jenkins kind of tracking Sam Laporta. There's motion going across. Jamison Williams right to left. Quick play action. A lot of these screens and reverses, the guard is pulling away from the point of attack. The point of attack is down here. This is where the screen occurs. They're just trying to hold the inside linebacker to that side, not let him fast flow to it. Look at what Laporta has out in front of him. Really smart how he hesitated for a moment before shifting it into second, third, and then a little bit of fourth gear. Rayshawn Jenkins, like I said, I thought had an opportunity to strip it if Laporta didn't protect the football. He did. Ends up being a 30-yard gain. When they took possession of the ball here, 35-27, 9 minutes left. Like I said, the big completion to Patrick for 29 yards, 30 yards, to Laporta. And now here we are. We're skipping plays, obviously. 3rd and 8, 5.5 minutes left. Beautiful throw. St. Brown's wide open, obviously. Goff is looking there pretty much the whole time. The coverage for the Seahawks just isn't up to the task in this moment. This little short motion they're using a lot with St. Brown, kind of create the stacked twins. Laporta originally veered to the outside. That's to kind of gain the attention and responsibility of the number 1 corner. And then he's bringing this route back through the guy's inside shoulder. So he's trying to force that corner to not take St. Brown's route. These routes are built in together. Let's say for a moment that this safety is not there. Let's say, for instance, the Seahawks are playing a different coverage, and this safety runs with the out by St. Brown. Well, then Goff's going to be trying to throw the football to Laporta somewhere in the back of the end zone, perhaps lower percentage throw than this one. Great catch. Awesome technique of getting his feet in bounds. I don't know how people weren't extremely impressed with Jared Goff on Monday night. He's not very fast. He's not very agile, clearly. In the last 2 weeks, however, he has dodged a lot of blitzers here against Seahawks or resituated himself in the pocket to be able to get the ball off. Oh, by the way, last week against Arizona, he had the game-clinching play-action boot out to the right, I think for an 11-yard gain. Yes, the first 2 weeks were a struggle. They were, in fact, difficult to watch at times for Detroit's offense. Not Monday night. They had things really dialed in for Mike McDonald's defense. It was, of course, missing at least 3 starters, perhaps 4, depending on what they want to classify Byron Murphy as. Detroit obviously missing some important players as well. Look, it's difficult for fans of other teams to accurately or fairly evaluate how much impact missing players had or would have had. For example, Derek Barnes and Marcus Davenport. Other teams don't realize how well Davenport was playing and how balanced and versatile Derek Barnes is. Perhaps I'm biased because I watch so much damn Lions film and I'm rooting for Derek Barnes to take advantage of his opportunities. It's almost heartbreaking to see him get hurt after the week he had in week 2 because he played incredibly well against Tampa Bay in coverage and against the run. And so I find it to be I'm a little bit impatient listening to Lions fans talk about Seahawks starters being out, or Seahawks fans talk about Lions starters being out. They both missed a lot of talent out there on the field. But nonetheless, the NFL forces them to play. You don't get to postpone. And the Lions' offense was incredibly sharp, really prepared. Regardless of who was out there on the field, Jared Goff was sharp, getting rid of the football on time. All those DBs that were playing are the starters for the Seahawks. I thought Jared Goff turned in a near-perfect performance. He did have an incomplete pass on an offensive pass interference down there in the fourth quarter before the touchdown pass to St. Brown, ironically. You guys let me know what you thought of Jared Goff's play. If you're a person, I don't want to say Jared Goff hater, but if you're a person who judges Goff harshly and you have some self-awareness that you do that, let me know how impressed you were, because I'm one who I think has been pretty fair towards Goff. In film study videos that I did in the offseason, the things that I understand that I think I can evaluate properly for you, if he did something wrong, I think I pointed it out. And in this game against the Seahawks, I think he addressed or handled two of his, quote, weaknesses really well. And that's handling pressure when it's in his face and then getting the ball out, getting to his second or third read really quickly. That's a strength of his. In fact, I should make sure I'm clear about that. That's a strength. Jared Goff's processing and understanding of things, but Mike McDonald changes the look post-snap so much that your pre-snap look isn't confirmed instantly, and so you end up having to hold on to the ball a little bit longer. I thought it was a spectacular performance by Jared Goff. Let me know in the comment section if you agree. What was your favorite play? For me, it was probably the short completion to Sam Laporta in the right flats. Somewhat innocuous 8 or 9 yard gain, tacked on with a 15-yarder, something like that. Appreciate you guys' time, man. If you think other Lions fans would enjoy this film study look at Jared Goff and the offense and how smoothly he operated in the pocket and when he had to shift outside of it, then please consider grabbing a link to this video, sharing it out on social media to help this content get more reach.